Ananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam thematic series. So in the last few classes, we have been discussing the third series, which is the answer to the six sages, the answer to the six questions of the sages. And Sut Goswami begins his reply by first offering his obeisances to Sukadev Goswami, his spiritual master. And we saw these are the famous prayers of Sut Goswami to Sukadev Goswami, very, very important prayers. And then he offers prayers, the famous prayers, Narayan Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiret. Prayers to the scripture which he is going to recite. And then he thanks the sages for asking these questions. And then he begins to answer one by one the six questions. And the first two question answers are answered from 1 to 6, Savai Pumsan Parodharma, and the answer goes on till verse 22. So we have up till now only seen Savai Pumsam Parodharma, Prabhupada's commentary on that, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on that. This verse 1 to 6 answers two of the questions of the sages. One is, what is the highest benefit for the humanity? And what is the essence of all scriptures? The highest benefit for humanity is to practice bhakti. And what is all the essence of all scriptures? The essence of all scriptures is to practice bhakti. So Sut Goswami is going to further expand his answer in the coming verses, which will go on till right up till verse number 22. So he concludes his discussion in verse number 22. So that's why we'll have to understand the whole flow. So now further, Sud Goswami, I don't know why Rup Goswami is coming to me. Uh, Sud Goswami is going to further continue to answer the sage's question, and let us continue with our discussion with the next verse, that is 1 to 7. 1 to 7. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजित जनेत्याशु वैराग्यम यद ज्ञानम च यद अहेतुकम. Bhakti yoga dedicated to Lord Krishna, Vasudeva Bhagavati. And what type of Bhakti yoga? Endowed with special moods, Prajojita. Quickly produces Janeti Ashu. What does it produce? Jnanam or Vairagya. Detachment from material goals and knowledge of the Lord, devoid of the desire for liberation. Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. So it produces detachment from material goals and knowledge of the Lord. This is Gyan, devoid of the desire for liberation. Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. Ahetuki means the Jnanis also practice Gyan sadhana, but they have a hetu. They have a desire for liberation. But the knowledge concerned to, studying of bhakti literatures like the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all the bhakti literatures, the purpose of understanding this knowledge is to practice devotion, and that devotion is done for the pleasure of the Lord. So the knowledge leads to devotion, and that devotion leads to further realized knowledge. But the knowledge of the Jnanis has a hetu, has a purpose with the desire for revelation. That's why in the last line it is said, Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. This is ahetuki jnana. So it doesn't mean that, this Bhagavati, Vasudeva Bhagavati, that is Bhakti Yoga dedicated to Lord Krishna, uh, produces Jnanam. So I'll just practice Bhakti. I'll just chant the holy names and automatically knowledge will come. No, we have to know how to chant the holy names. So we have to hear from the Shastras how to chant the holy names. So this knowledge is meant to lead to devotion. So that's why uh, this verse is speaking about Bhakti Sambandhit Gyan. Bhakti Sambandhit Gyan. So as I mentioned, this answers Q1 and Q2 about the ultimate goal of humanity and the essence of all scriptures, respectively. The answer is Bhakti, mentioned in 1, 2, 6, and 7. And the process of Bhakti. And the process of Bhakti is explained from 1 to 6 to 1 to 22, not 29. It is 1 to 22. The object of worship is Bhagavan, that he has established it here only. But he'll further clarify that, it's not the Devatas or the Gunavatars, but it is only Vishnu who is to be worshipped. So that he'll establish from 1 to 23 to 29. But the process of bhakti is explained from 1 to 6 to 22. So this constitutes the entire answer for question 1 and question 2 of the sages. So let's see Prabhupada's commentary first, and then we will go a little deeper into Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary. Those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material, emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realization are recommended. So there is yajna, swadhyaya, dana, tapa. Oh, bhakti is just for those who are bhavuk. It's simply an emotional affair. But here this verse is saying, no, that is the highest thing. According to them, bhakti or devotional service to the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high grade activities. So these tapasya, swadhyaya, study of the scriptures, all these are high grade activities. So they think, those who perform these, they think bhakti, is meant for such people who cannot perform these high grade activities. Generally, it is said that the bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent class, woman class. But that is not the actual fact. The cult, bhakti cult, is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime and easy. So sometimes people feel that the path of Gyan and Ashtanga uh, are more sophisticated paths, and the path of Bhakti is very easy. The path of Gyan requires first one has to take sannyas. That's the first thing. Secondly, one has to have intellectual capabilities of understanding the Vedanta and the Upanishads. The path of Ashtanga also needs sannyas. That is the requirement. And even the path of Ashtanga reads mental and physical austerities to do tapasya. So both require adhikar. Whereas the path of bhakti is simple, even anyone can do it without any qualification. So that is why it is not it is a emotional affair, or it is meant for only less intelligent people. So the path of bhakti is the most difficult path, because in the path of bhakti, there is a purification of the ego which happens. And, for Ashtanga Yoga, if you have physical ability, you can practice. But the purification of the ego, is not so easy there. And even for the Gyanis who practice the Jnana sadhana, they have ego that, we have knowledge, Gyan. And the Ashtanga yogis have the ego that, we have capabilities to perform austerity. But the real austerity is the purification of the ego, which even the path of Gyan and Ashtanga cannot, those processes cannot purify the ego as much as the path of Bhakti can perform. And Bhakti purifies the ego. And that's why one has to be very humble to practice the path of Bhakti. And that's why it is easy, sublime and easy for the beginners. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in touch with the Supreme Lord. And it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of Bhakti. So those who are pure devotees, who want to get in touch with the Lord, that is, they want to attain the goal. For them, it is sublime. And it is easy for the beginners because you don't need any adhikar, just like the Gyan path or the Ashtanga path need adhikar. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is a great science. And it is open to all living beings, include the Shudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the low-born Shudras. So what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self-realized kings. So Prabhupada is paraphrasing which verse from the Bhagavad Gita here? Raise your hands. Which verse from the Bhagavad Gita is Prabhupada paraphrasing here in this line of the purport? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Which line of the purport, which verse of the purports, which verses he is quoting, paraphrasing there? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Okay, Ashokatma Prabhuji.
That Pandita Samadarshinaha.
No, not that verse. Pandita Dharmadarshi.
Shuni Chaiva Shopakecha.
No, no. Yes, Priya Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji. It's 9.32. Mami Partha Vipashrita Ye Api Shruva
Papayone says, Shriyo Vaishya Sadat
Sriyo
Sudras
Vaishya Tatha
Tepi Antim Paramgatim. Excellent. So Krishna Prabhupada is paraphrasing that, O Partha, those who take Vipashrita, shelter of me, even if they are the sinful among the sinful, even if they are Shriya, Vaishyas, Sudras, Tepi Antim Paramgatim, they can attain. So the path of bhakti is so powerful, so purifying that the most fallen of the fallen can take up and get purified. So the glory of bhakti is being brought out. Whereas other paths, you need, I mentioned, you need adhikar, need to be a sannyasi to practice jnana or ashtanga. And then, if this is the purifying potency of bhakti, then what to speak? Kim punar brahmana punya? The brahmanas are punyas. Bhakta Rajarishya. The Rajarishis are great rishis. They can easily perform this. If they can perform and attain the highest, destination, then the others can perform also. So Prabhupada is paraphrasing exactly this statement that it is open for all living beings. Then what to speak of high class men like qualified Brahmanas, Punya Brahmana and Rajarisha. The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. In fact, if these all other activities, if you're doing and there is no bhakti element in it, those activities are just punya. They have nothing to do with bhakti. They will make you pious. But if they are combined with bhakti, then, they give you more results. The principle of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. Now, Prabhupada is going to speak about Jnana and Vairagya. The whole process leads to the perfect knowledge of everything material and spiritual. And the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. So in the path of bhakti, this is another glory of path of bhakti, that you need not practice detachment. Whereas in the path of Gyan and in the path of Ashtanga, one has to do sadhana to become detached from this world. But in the path of bhakti, we need not do this sadhana. We simply become attached to spiritual activities, and the natural outcome is detachment from matter. We become attached to devotional service activities like chanting the holy names. We are becoming attached to Krishna's form, serving the deity. So similarly, we will become detached from material forms. So, Janeti Ashu Vairagyam. Vairagya is a byproduct of bhakti. Whereas Vairagya is, Vairagya sadhana has to be done in the process of Jnana and Ashtanga. Being detached from material thing does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men of poor fund of knowledge thing. So these men with poor fund of knowledge are those who are Gyanis and Ashtang yogis. They just want to become detached from material things. Naishkarmya means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. So Naishkarmya is that by performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, when Nishkama Karma Yoga matures, what happens? You attain a state where you are having freedom from both good and bad actions, and you don't have the desire to do actions at all. You have attained the state of what is called as Jnana Nishta. Your Jnana has fully matured, and now you are on a transcendental platform, and you don't perform any actions. In the beginning stages of Nishkama Karma, there is the propensity to perform actions because of the inclination of the Swabhava. But by performing such actions without desiring the fruits, you attain a state called as Nashkarmya. Now, once you attain the state of Nashkarmya, then you are situated on the transcendental platform. But in bhakti, we are doing neither good actions nor bad actions. We are doing spiritual actions for Krishna's pleasure. Negation does not mean the negation of the positive. So there is just negation, neti neti, in the process of Gyan and Ashtanga. So negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from material forms does not mean nullifying the positive form. The positive form is the spiritual form of Krishna. The bhakti cult is meant for realizing the positive form. And when the positive form is realized, automatically there is detachment from the negative forms. Prabhupada is saying, when the positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. So that's the glory of practicing bhakti. Therefore, with the development of bhakti cult and with the application of the positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from the inferior things and he becomes attached to superior things. So that's why by the practice of bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya automatically manifest. They are byproducts of bhakti. There is no separate endeavor to be done to attain Gyan and Vairagya. Similarly, the bhakti cult being the supermost occupation of the living beings. What is the highest occupation? What is the supreme benefit for all living beings? Leads him out of material sense enjoyment. It leads him out of material sense enjoyment. That is the sign of a pure devotee. So a sign of a pure devotee is that he is completely free from material sense enjoyment. He is not a fool, nor is engaged in inferior energies, nor does he have material values. He is engaged in superior energy of the Lord. The bhakti is the antaranga shakti of the Lord. So all the activities of bhakti are conducted under the internal energy of the Lord. And, he does not have material values, but he has spiritual values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. So this understanding is just not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of the Almighty. It happens by the Lord's mercy, it happens. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all the good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment, etc. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principles of the cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. So that's how Prabhupada, I think, concludes his brief discussion. But we will go into a little deeper now with Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on this. Now, this verse, we should carefully study. This verse is saying, Janeti Ashu. Janeti means it gives birth. Janni. Mother is called as Janini. Ati means very soon, quickly. Jnanam and Vairagya and Gyan. So, question might rise here for us as devotees that we are practicing bhakti, say from 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. There are many senior devotees here who are practicing. Do we feel that we have attained detachment from this material world and attained complete attachment to Krishna? That's my question. Yes or no? Anyone would like to share? Okay, Vasudev, Ashokatma Prabhu has said no. Okay, Sunita Mataji, what is your thoughts about this?
Hare Krishna, Danda Pranam Prabhuji. Gradually, to some extent.
To some extent. but complete detachment has not happened. Yes. Okay, Devati Guruji. Yes. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's up and down, Prabhuji. Sometimes
It's up and down. Sometimes we are detached little bit. We feel a little detachment,
yeah,
and we are attached to little spiritual activities again.
so
But here it is
especially
complete detachment. Okay.
especially
So
when
now
other
the reasons for that, we will see. We will look into this verse a little carefully. This verse is saying Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Means Bhakti Yoga practiced in special moods, or Bhakti Yoga which has attained perfection, that is Sadhya Bhakti. Special modes means Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. That means if you have attained, Sadhya Bhakti, only that produces detachment and Vairagya. And here Jnanam refers to not only just we are trying to acquire knowledge about devotion, but here it mentions here it specifically refers to realized knowledge. As Devhuti Kapil Pro was mentioning, sometimes we are a little bit attached to devotional activities. Again, detachment we feel, but again we become attracted to it because we have still not realized that knowledge. So Bhakti Yoga means here it is Sadhya Bhakti, and especially it refers to Bhava Bhakti, because only in Bhava Bhakti um, we know our relationship with Krishna, and we are situated in that relationship and relishing spiritual rasa in form of serving Krishna in Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, or Dasya Bhav. So let us now see Vishwanath Chakra Thakur commentary on this. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur makes it clear. What form does that satisfaction of the mind take? Because in the previous verse it was said, Yenatma suprasidati. So we are also practicing bhakti. We are getting little pleasure and happiness, but not complete bliss. Suprasidati. Why? Because we are not practicing Shuddha Bhakti. If we practice Shuddha Bhakti, Anya Abhilashrita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. If we practice this kind of bhakti, then what happens? We are completely pleased internally. Suprasidati. So we get little satisfaction because we are practicing only very little bhakti. But complete pure devotional service when we practice, then there is satisfaction. And how does it happen? This satisfaction of mind is filled with knowledge and experience of the form, qualities, and sweetness of the Lord. So there is complete experience. Anubhav, that is what is realization, which causes complete disgust to all inferior objects. We become a little disgust with, material things when they cause us misery, and we become a little serious in bhakti that time when we are inflicted with material miseries. But this bhakti, which is Shuddha Bhakti, where one is realizing the beautiful form of the Lord, the beautiful qualities of the Lord, one is experiencing the sweetness of the Lord. This type of bhakti is Sadhya Bhakti. There is complete attachment. A Bhava Bhakta is experiencing the sweetness of the Lord. So that causes complete disgust. That is explained in this verse. This bhakti is endowed, yojita, in an excellent manner. Prayojita. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Yojita means here endowed. Prakrisht Rupena Yojita. So it is Yojita with Dasya, Sakya, and other loving emotions. So only when sadhana bhakti matures into Sadhya Bhakti, that is Bhava Bhakti, then at Bhava Bhakti stage, once emotions with Krishna, spiritual emotions with Krishna, whether it is in Sakya, Dasya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya, is revealed. So that kind of bhakti, causes complete detachment. Another meaning is Bhakti Yoga Prayoja is Bhakti Yoga has been made the only goal. So you have attained the Prayojan. Our only goal is Bhakti and nothing other. No other goals in this material world. Because we have some other goals in this world also, still our Bhakti is not pure. Vyavasayatmika buddhi eke hi kurunandana. We have no other goal. So, we have attained that goal. Separate endeavor for attaining knowledge and detachment are not necessary in the practice of bhakti. For bhakti itself produces them. How? Very quickly. At the time of performing bhakti, they are attained, for it is said, Bhakti pareshanubhava viraktiranyach chaish trik ekakalah prapadyamanasya yatashnatasush tushti pushti shud apavo anughasam. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, para ishanubhava, and detachment from other things, virakti anyatra. These three occur simultaneously, chaisha trika ekakala, for one who has taken the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prapadyamanasya. In the same way that pleasure, yata ashnata, nourishment and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly. Shush, tushti, pushti, shudapayano. With each bite for a person engaged in eating. Anughasam. So just like when one is very hungry and he starts eating one morsel, gradually what is happening? He's getting tushti. He's feeling satisfaction. He's getting strength, pushti, and his hunger is mitigated. So this bhakti, by practice of bhakti, para isha anubhava, virakti, anyatra. So with the practice of devotion, there is what? Ish anubhava and virakti. All these three occur. Now here this term bhakti has been used. What type of bhakti this is? What type of bhakti is this? Anyone? Whether it is sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. Bhava and prema bhakti come in sadhya bhakti category. What type of bhakti you think it is? Anyone? Think about it. Yes, Ashok Atma Prabhuji.
It is Bhava Bhakti.
Yes, it is Sadhya Bhakti. When Sadhya Bhakti is performed, that's why you get Para Ishanubhava. We also having little experience of the Lord because we are still in the beginning stages of Bhakti and still not taken up to Shuddha Bhakti in one sense. That's why the Anubhav is very little experience. And Virakti is also very little. But complete Virakti happens when we have Shuddha Bhakti, especially Sadhya Bhakti, and there is experience of the sweetness of the Lord. In fact, in the Kapil Shiksha, it is mentioned that a person who has attained Sadhya Bhakti, his heart is pure, and when he's chanting or meditating, he's able to have the darshan of the Lord. He's able to see the beautiful limbs of the Lord, and he's experiencing ecstasies. So this is the kind of Sadhya Bhakti where he's experiencing the ecstatic transformations in different moods, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And that's why he's attained Virakti, detachment. And there is Bhakti, there is Ishanubhav, and there is Virakti. All three, have happened. Because of that Bhakti, there is Ishanubhav and there is Virakti. So our Bhakti is producing very little Ishanubhav and very little Virakti because it is not Sadhya Bhakti or it is not Shuddha Bhakti. So this is very quickly, that means at Sadhya stage. There is an objection: if one possesses knowledge, one attains liberation. So there might be this Purva Paksha: if there is Gyan, Gyan leads to Mukti. The answer to this is, the verse says that this knowledge is ahetukam, without motivation for liberation. Ahetuki comes from hetu, meaning cause or purpose. Just as one can say he lives for eating, this means he lives with the goal for eating. So the gyan we cultivate with the goal for liberation. No, this gyan is ahetuki gyan. Thus, in this verse, jnanam ahetukam means knowledge without the goal of liberation. Therefore, by practicing bhakti, in which knowledge also manifests without the goal of liberation, the liberation of merging does not take place. Knowledge in this case means knowledge and experience of the Lord's form, qualities, and sweetness. Harer madhurya anubhav. Harer madhurya, sweetness, anubhav. That kind of gyan. That's why this is called sometimes with the term as bhakti sambandita gyan. Thus, it is said in the fourth canto, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Samahita Sadrichena Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Janishyati. The stage of Prema Bhakti completely dedicated Bhakti Yoga Samahita to Vasudeva. Vasudeva Bhagavati produces complete Jnana and Vairagya. Sadrichena Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Janishyati. So where does Gyan and Vairagya completely manifest? At the stage of Prema Bhakti. At the stage of Bhava Bhakti also, it is almost complete detachment and realized knowledge. And Bhava Bhakti is just a part of the Prema Bhakti. Very soon Bhava Bhakti produces, just like the flower bud. You can see the previous day there is a flower bud, and next day when you go and see, that tree has a full blossom flower. So Bhava Bhakti is Prem Ankur. It is a bud, Ankur, in the form of Ankur. And very soon it fully blossoms. Just like Bhava Bhakti is like the just beginning of the rising of the sun. And with the rising of the sun, all the darkness is, eliminated. Everything is, you can see, there's realized knowledge. All the fog is dissipated. All the anarthas are gone. And very soon, when the sun has risen, means very soon the full sun will start blazing the sky. That is like the Prema Bhakti. So this verse and 1 to 7 are very similar verses. And here it is becoming very clear that it is Prema Bhakti or Sadhya Bhakti. One should practice Bhakti with only that goal in mind. Sadrichi Nena, devoid of the desire for liberation and other goals. The next verse shows that this type of bhakti is the cause of another type of bhakti. So chiradeva rajarshe swadachut katashrayah shunvata shraddhadanasya nityada swad adiyata. So the next verse to this verse, 4 to 29, 4 to, 4:29:37, that 4:29:38. O saintly king, Rajrishe, one who, Saha, hears and studies with faith, Shunvata Shraddhadhanasa Nityadya Swad Adhiyata. Adhiyata means studies. Very soon, Achira Deva attains the shelter topics of the Lord to attain Prema. Syad Achut Katashraya. So that means if one hears and studies with faith and Nityada, when he practices the sadhana bhakti, very soon he will attain prema. Thus, it is established in this verse that bhakti alone functions as both the cause and the goal, and not knowledge or detachment. So, sadhana bhakti causes bhava bhakti. So, bhakti causes bhakti, and bhakti doesn't cause what? The cause of sadhya bhakti is sadhana bhakti. Whereas in the other paths, they have to practice sadhana to attain something else, vairagya. The cause is their jnana sadhana, and the result is vairagya. But here, the cause is sadhana bhakti, the result is sadhya bhakti. Both are bhakti. So in that sense, that's why this is called as jnanam cha yad ahetukam. So bhakti is ahetuki, that we have established in the previous verse discussion. So that's the point being made. Okay. Any questions on this up till now? Any questions, any clarifications about 1 to 7? It's a very, very important verse for us to understand. No questions? So then we will go to the next verse. Now, Sut Goswami has established, in a positive way, what is the highest benefit for all humanity and what is the essence of all scriptures. So the essence of all scriptures is to practice bhakti. And now, in a negative way, the same point he is going to establish, that Swadharma, practicing Varnashram Dharma, is not the essence of all scriptures or the highest benefit of all humanity. In a positive way, he has established it directly. Now, indirectly, he is establishing. If one is doing Varnashram Dharma, as a goal, then no, that is not the Parodharma. Varnashram Dharma is not the Parodharma. Because if you're practicing Varnashram Dharma, but you have not attained attraction for Vasudeva Kataruchi, then all your practice of Varnashram Dharma is simply a fruitless labor. It's a simply wasted effort. So that he is establishing from 1 to 8. And this discussion will go up till verse number 13. Please remember that. Varnashram Dharma is not Varnashram Dharma for human being, Dharma Swanishtita Pumsa, which does not produce attraction. Nodpadayet yadiratim, for topics of the Lord. Vishvakshena Katasuya is only wasted effort. Shama evahi kevalam. Let's see Prabhupada's translation on this. Prabhupada also translates it in a little differently, but essentially the meaning is the same. The occupational activities of a man, Swanishtita Dharma, a man performs according to his own position, are only so much useless labor. Shama evahi kevalam, if they do not provoke attraction. Nodpad yadi ratim, for the message of the personality of Godhead. Vishvaksena kata. True. Yeah. Okay, let us see Prabhupada's purport, and then we'll go to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport. Now here we have to understand, this is an important PPT diagram. Please understand this. So there is this soul, and then there is the subtle body, and then there is the gross body. Now within the subtle body is our nature, based on the impressions. If there are sattvic impressions, then we are inclined for Brahminical activities. If there are Rajasic impressions, more of a passionate nature, then we are inclined for Kshatriya activities. If there is a combination of more uh, passion and ignorance, then there is Vaishya activities. And there is a lot of tamasic impressions, then there's activities according. So based on our swabhava, there is a particular type of swakarma. You can see a Marwadi or a Guju, we're just, just giving an example. We are not trying to say, he is by nature inclined to do business. He is by nature inclined to do that. He is inclined to that kind of actions, karma, swakarma. Why? It is his swabhava, because of his impressions. And an intellectual person, he naturally likes reading scientific books. That is his actions, because of his impressions. He has got sattvic impressions. So based on the swabhava, there is a swakarma, and based on that, there is a swadharma. So for the Brahmana, the swadharma is patan patan yajan yajana dana pratigraha. For the Kshatriya, there is a Kshatriya dharma, the Kshatriya codes of war. He'll study those portions of the Vedas which deal with Kshatriya dharma, that is the Dhanur Veda. He'll study that. For a Brahmana, he'll study the Upanishads, right? So based on the Swabhava, there is a Swakarma and there is a Swadharma. So Varnashram Dharma is based on the nature of the Swabhava and not the soul. What is the Swabhava of the soul? What is the nature of the soul? Please tell me. This is the nature of our Swabhava. What is the nature of the soul? What is the true nature of the soul? Abhay Inge Prabhuji, yes.
To serve Prabhu.
To serve whom?
To serve anybody, but the nature is to serve.
Okay, we'll have to be a little more clear about this. Yes, Priya Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we are part and parcel of the Lord. We have to love and serve God.
Excellent, very good. Ravikant Prabhuji, you're correct about it. I just want to hear your answers. Yes.
Hare Krishna
Yes,
Prabhu.
Ravikant. Yeah. Yes, Ravikant Prabhuji. Okay, 1 minute, let me mute. Okay, Devruti Kapil Prabhuji. Yeah.
To desire pleasure.
Desire pleasure. Anandmayo Bhyasyat. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Ashokatma Prabhuji.
Ultimate goal of life, that is the ultimate goal of soul, is to go back home, back to Godhead, to serve the Supreme Lord eternally. Because we have been separated.
Yes, okay. Ravikant Prabhuji, I'll hear him also what he has to say. Yes, Ravikant Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the nature of the soul is the Satchidananda, which is the similar as the Lord's nature.
Sunita Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, unmuted you.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी जीवेर स्वरूप है कृष्णेर नित्य दास.
Yes. The swabhav of the soul is it has a natural attraction towards the Supreme Soul. It has a natural attraction towards the Supreme Soul. The soul has natural attraction to the Supreme Soul. So the real swadharma of the soul is to practice bhakti, that is to love Krishna, the Supreme Soul, Krishna. But because of these impressions in the subtle body, there is attraction towards other things. We are inclined to do different actions. But the real action of the soul is to love the Supreme Soul, and love means also action. That's it. So that is what is the definition of pure bhakti. You know, the mother, when the child is born, the mother doesn't go to some college to learn how to love the child. There is natural and spontaneous attraction to love the child. Where did she develop that? And the mother continuously serves the child morning to night. In the late night also, when the child starts crying, she will not say, let him cry, I'll go to sleep. A hetuki, without any, hetu, you know. So that's why Prabhupada said the love of the mother and the child very closely comes to the definition of pure devotion. And continuous, uninterrupted service the mother performs to the child. Of course, later on, the relationship change as the child grows, then he's no more under the shelter of the complete mother, you know. So then he starts going and playing out, and then when he grows, although the mother has always love for the child, but the child now, is more interested with his friends to play. He's relishing more sakya. Whereas the child who is completely dependent on the mother, you know, completely under the shelter of mother, that kind of intimacy, uh, that very much is very close to the soul's relationship with the Supreme Soul. So because of these impressions in the Swabhava, we are inclined to do actions based on that. And there is a Swadharma, so that ultimately, if we perform these actions according to Dharma, then the subtle body gets purified. But it is meant to ultimately awaken, to come to the Swabhava of the soul. And that, if you're situated in Varnashrama, it gives an opportunity to give you to hear and chant more Krishna Katha. But if you're only engrossed in these activities, doing the Swakarma based on your Sabhava, and you're not using that facility to more develop attraction, Rati, Vasudeva Katha Ruchi, if you're not developing that, then your practice of Varnashram is Shrama Eva Kevalam. So in that sense, Varnashram, being situated in the Varnashram Dharma, or being situated in an environment where Varnashram Dharma is practiced, is the best vehicle for you to come to the Swadharma of the soul. But if you get only inclined to do only these activities and you think this is the highest, then all your activities done as per Varnashram and Shrama Evahi Kevalam. That's the point being made. Okay, let us see what Prabhupada says. There are different. Okay, any questions on this first? We'll not take the purport because we'll not be able to complete that. Yes, Priya Mataji. Birendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dhanutna. Prabhu, just one clarification. With regard to Prabhu, when we say Cheto Darpan Marjanam, so these impressions, they are completely eradicated. And at what level it happens? It's Nishtha or it's higher than that?
First of all, Chaito Darpan Marjanam means the holy name should enter the chitta. That should, it should enter the heart. It should enter the heart means it should enter the soul, But the soul is now covered with this gross body and subtle body. Subtle body is mind, intelligence, false ego. So if you're not situated, in an environment where, you are doing activities according to your nature, like suppose you're a businessman by nature and you are given in your company, you're a marketing person. By nature, you're a marketing person, but you're given, to do research, scientific work. Internally, it doesn't suit your nature. And because it doesn't suit your nature, you're always disturbed. So you cannot sit and chant also. And if you're, in an environment where, you are given that kind of a work to which suits your nature, and then you are also parallelly practicing your core devotional activities, and there is an environment where you can, where there is more of mode of goodness, just like in an agricultural setup. There is practically, those activities, there is no sin, Prabhupada said. Plowing the field, working with the cows, Krishi Goraksha. These are very pure activities. So if you are situated in that kind of agrarian setup, then you can hear the mantra, and by hearing the mantra, Cheto Darpan will happen. So both, activities you perform purify the uh, vasanas, and the core devotional activities also purify the vasanas. But if you are, having this nature of a Vaishya, and you're doing business, but while doing business, you're committing a lot of sin. Sin definitely happens. And then you're trying to take the name, because the impressions, instead of becoming eradicated, you're putting on more sinful activities. So where you'll be able to hear the name. So that is why a balance of both these, because the inclination of the Gauna Vritti, Swabhava, is very strong because of millions of impressions from millions of lifetimes. So those actions should be performed in such a way that you lead a very pious life, so that you can do devotional activities, so that ultimately you can hear the name and you can purify the chitta. So that is the uh, uh, way out for us. Are you clear about this?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Devhuti Kapil Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just have a question. I'm not sure if it will be out of context or if my understanding is also correct. So recently I heard in some of the lectures in Chaitanya Leela, Mahaprabhu even rejected Varnashram and he said only practice bhakti. So there is a school of thought
No,
where
that is not a correct understanding. We'll have to go deeper into the subject. Aito Bhaya, it doesn't mean that Mahaprabhu rejected Varnashram.
Hmm.
He rejected in the sense that that is not the highest goal. Varnashram is not the highest goal. But Varnashram is a suitable vehicle by which you can attain the highest goal.
maybe a
So
catalyst.
yeah, it is like a catalyst by which you can come to that highest perfection. So that understanding will have to go deeper. What exactly has to come to the highest goal is to attain, bhakti to Radha and Krishna. And not highest goal is to perform Varnashram duties. So from that perspective, he rejected, you know. So we have to go deeper into that subject, and various acharyas have mentioned that whole conversation. And when you discuss that whole conversation and have a deeper understanding, then you'll come to know about it. It's not that Varnashram is rejected. Then why would Prabhupada say that 50% of my, job is unfulfilled? He wanted Varnashram to be set up so that devotees ultimately we can chant Shuddhanam. Where in the cities we find time to do core devotional activities? We are always, our consciousness is absorbed. We can't even attentively hear the mantra. We have to come to the mode of goodness to chant attentively around to attain prema for the Lord. So that's why it becomes the best vehicle to, practice devotional service. That's the point.
So where exactly I can
Okay.
find this conversation in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhu?
It is there in the Ramanand Samvad, but
Okay.
the deeper meaning and understanding of this conversation is given by many of the acharyas like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and even Prabhupada in his talks has mentioned about it.
Okay.
Ravi Kant Prabhuji, this is the last question we'll take. Yes. Yes, Ravi Kant Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is that soul's natural Swabhava, and the
Yes, Dharma.
subtle bodies natural Swabhava Jati Swadharma. Both are independent or it is dependent, because both are affecting each other. I think the Swabhava of the subtle body is giving the pleasure or pain to the soul, right? Always it is getting suffering. Then where the natural Swabhava attraction to the Lord Krishna is 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 totally vanishes, and
Yeah, I got your point. I got your point.
yes,
So the thing is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one of his articles mentions that we have a gross body, we have a subtle body, and the gross body should be situated properly. That means the maintenance of the gross body is taken care. I'm coming from a very rich class family, so I need a house according to my status, and there have to be all the facilities in the house in terms of ingredients, all the paraphernalia. So this is the gross body requirement for such a person. So if I'm not having that, then I cannot peacefully chant the holy name. Then because I'm a big businessman, I have my business empire and I have this nature of doing business. So the Swabhav's nature also has to be according to, it has to be aligned. And then the gradual elevation of the soul can happen. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. But, if, uh, you know, if there is a, very advanced soul who's on a transcendental platform, he doesn't matter where he's lying down, whether he's lying down on the street or whether he's on the road or whether he's in the forest. He doesn't care of the maintenance of the body because he's transcendental. He has no impressions based on the conditionings. For him, it doesn't make difference. But because we are conditioned by gross and subtle bodies, that is why, the gross and the subtle body have to be made favorable for the gradual evolution of for the gradual elevation of the soul towards the highest goals. So that's why these are very important in one sense. But having said that, once one is, free from the impressions of free from the gross and subtle body, you know, uh, impressions, that is gross body ultimately, is based on the subtle body. One who is transcendently situated, for him it doesn't matter. But that is the liberated platform. But to come to that, these are required, and that's why Varnashram becomes the best vehicle by which we can take up to pure devotional service. That's the point. I hope it is clear.
yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we will take a Prabhupada's commentary tomorrow. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Oh, I did not record today. Okay.